All right, y'all. Welcome back. Today we're going to be listening to Tristen Keys at the OT7 finals with 24/7 Sports. He's going to talk about where he stands at with all these schools. Obviously, it's big for our Tennessee Volunteers. Some of y'all might have already heard this, but I'll be sharing my thoughts on what kind of stands out to me as we go throughout. Please do make sure to like and subscribe.
Now we got a guy who already made his decision. 5-star wide receiver Tristen Keys, the number one receiver in America. Tristen, how does it feel to just be out here at the OT7 finals competing against the best of the best?
I say it's truly a blessing. I get to represent from my hometown, the little kids that don't think big things like this can happen. So, yeah, that's really the biggest thing for me.
It's so impressive when you come to these events because you go everywhere. I believe you did Under Armour last year, went to the Poly Bowl, came back all within like a week or so and ended up playing, I think, Battle Miami.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Like, why are you out here wanting to compete as hard as you do?
I say the grind come from just like where I was raised at, from playing football on the concrete, the grass, anywhere, just having that dog mentality, receiving it from the people I looked up to. So, yeah, that's where it comes from.
Tristen, I got to ask, I just brought up on the broadcast, you were rocking the LSU hat earlier. No LSU hat right now.
Yeah.
My buddy Tom Loy over here said yesterday that he doesn't think he thinks you might not end up at LSU, taking a ton of official visits. So what's the latest with the recruitment? Where do things stand right now?
I feel like they're doing a great job what they do from the coaching standpoint. I went on OV this past weekend, I want to say. Yeah, this past weekend, got a chance to get a feel with locker room guys, talk to the coaches. I've been there 1,000 times, man, so I pretty much know how everything kind of flows, so yeah.
Going back to when you picked the Tigers.
All right, so let me stop it there because, number one, whoever it is that's teaching them how to handle these interviews, I think that they're doing a really, really good job because he did kind of answer that question, but he really didn't. He never said exactly where LSU stood at. He just said all the positive things about LSU. Sometimes whenever people don't actually answer questions, you can kind of tell, like, that might say more than what he said. I feel like he is going to end up backing away from LSU, like we've heard from the insiders and like we've said on this channel for such a long time. It's, to me, more of a matter of when and not if. We'll see, can that happen maybe within these next couple of weeks because a lot of players are now coming off of the boards. I think that he could possibly flip before the football season starts. It doesn't necessarily mean that the team that he flips to is who he's going to stick with. You got to get him all the way to signing day, and obviously whoever he signs with is where he's going to be going. But I thought that actually shed a lot of light on what's going on with Tristen Keys.
Like, why LSU? Why was that the school for you?
I felt good. I was in a good spot. I got a chance to talk to the coaches and kind of see what they do. A lot of people know what they do at the receiver standpoint. Talk to the coaches, and I just felt like that was a spot for me. I feel like they can produce me, get me to the next step as quick as possible. So, yeah.
I want to go back to the, competing.
All right, so let me pause it there again because he's talking about some of the things that stood out to him once he chose LSU. So he did choose LSU without his mom present. It sounded like his mom might not have liked that too much. So on the most recent visit, y'all saw that LSU had his mom in the, full uniform and all of that. So you got to make sure that mom is happy first. But as I've also told y'all, whenever you mess up with those parents, that's usually it. You know what I'm saying? Like that usually really throws you all the way off, especially messing up with those mamas. So he also talks about wanting to go to a place that's going to help him get to the next level. This is going to be big, I think, for this whole race, all the way down to the very, very end. Can Tennessee show and prove that we can get players to the next level and that they play well? That's going to be something else. The guys that we have up there currently that Coach Heupel got to coach, how do they do this year? Are they putting up better numbers? Because, like I said, I think that he might be like a wait till signing day sort of a situation. And if we're seeing that the players that Tennessee has in the NFL are doing a good job, they're putting up good numbers, that would most definitely help Tennessee's chances. But I had to make sure that I stopped it and pointed that out.
You were at Under Armour. We saw you at Poly Bowl. You were awesome that whole week. You go to Battle Miami. Then you were back in Vegas 2 weeks later at Battle. A lot of guys in your position, a lot of guys that are elite talents will shut it down. You seem to not only want to go play at every event, but then you still go and dominate at that event. You talked about the mentality of playing football on the concrete. How much has that been entwined into the player that you are? Just you always feel like you've got to prove something. You're the number one receiver in the country for a reason, but you go to every event feeling like you're the number 10 receiver and trying to prove that there's nobody that's better than you.
I just feel like you got to run it up, man. I feel like there's no limit to it. I mean, you got to go – the sky's the limit, and, like, you got to get there as fast as possible. So, like, that's kind of what it is with me. I love to come out and compete with some of the top guys. They some pretty great players themselves, so, yeah.
I want to ask you, we were just at the Elite 11 finals, and our number one player in the country, Faison Brandon, committed to Tennessee. I mean, he talked for the 72 hours or so we were there. All he talked about on the recruiting front was, I got to get my man TK. How has that relationship evolved, and why are you guys so close throughout this process?
I met Faison. He became my friend at the Future 50, the event we had a little minute ago, and we kind of built our bond from there. Of course, we go on visits. We've been to Tennessee together a couple times, so like we just built our relationship from then, and it just became what it have been today. So yeah, that's my dog, man. He's a great football player, great quarterback, and yeah, he gonna zip that ball. That's one thing he can do for sure.
You've been
So obviously that's a very positive thing that him and Faison are close. I think that we all know that at this point, but that's another, I think, pretty good job of him answering that question, saying some things without saying too much. So we'll let this thing keep on going.
some other schools. Miami's one of them.
Yes, sir.
What did you think of your time there in Coral Gables?
Sir?
What did you think of your time at Miami?
It was great. I got a chance to talk to Coach Cristobal, the OC, thing like that. They had a great offense last year. Great OC, got a great offense. Offense that I would play in. I feel like you're going to get open if you just follow the assignment. So, yeah, that was a big thing for me. Then they got Darian Coleman, great quarterback, can zip the ball. So, yeah.
There's another one that I want to ask you about. I know obviously the Tennessee's done a great job. I felt like it's more than just Faison Brandon. But so what is it about the Volunteers that kind of catches your eye?
They great people, man. Great connections, great fan base, great environment. Great quarterback committed, great receiver coaches. Like, my relationship there is just to the top. So, yeah, I kind of feel comfortable there.
The other one I want to ask.
So I'm going to stop it there because he does bring up that Tennessee's got a good quarterback. So he talked about that with two programs now. Yes, they have some good quarterbacks, some young quarterbacks, so that's definitely something that sticks out to him. But when he was talking about the U, he said, well, they've got a good system. I can definitely get open. It's not something that he touched on with Tennessee. It might not have been, it might not be because he thinks Tennessee can't get him open within our scheme. But as I've also brought up, we will be changing things. Last season, wide receivers really weren't getting open that often. Yes, wide receivers are going to get open sometimes. Like, that's just going to happen. But it wasn't like what you would see with some of these other programs with offenses that Tennessee's is supposed to be like. We saw it in 2021 and also in 2022. So again, going back to wait till the season really starts. I think the Tennessee scheme is going to be something that really stands out to him. That might be the last, second to last checkbox that he's looking for. But also, like we touched on, how do our wide receivers in the NFL do? There's a lot of things that I feel like will be positive for Tennessee coming up this year to help us ultimately land Tristen Keys, because I feel like Dante Thornton, the Raiders are already talking about him, being pushed out there. They really want to make him a big part of their offense. That could be a really positive look. But, then we've got some other guys up there that's been there for several years. I think that they will be in their second and third years, something like that. So this should be their time to really, make something happen. Typically, NFL players, they'll go through like a sophomore slump. But that third year, third and fourth years, once they get into their new contract year, is when they tend to ball out. So I think that everything's going to work perfectly for our Tennessee Volunteers.
Ask about Mike Elko, the Aggies, Texas A&M. I mean, you start smiling right away. I know Texas A&M is extremely hopeful that they land Tristen Keys. What do you like about him?
I like pretty much everything from. It's a business school. They do a great job at the business standpoint. A lot of connections, not a lot of network. But the main part for me would just be Coach Wiggins, man. He got a great resume, man. He do a lot. He one of the best for sure. So yeah.
Speaking of receivers, obviously we talked about the schools that are trying to recruit you, but the school that you're committed to has some of the best receivers that play the game.
Yes, sir.
The best LSU receiver in the NFL right now, in your opinion, not just what the stats are saying, who is the receiver that you like the most, watch the most, patting yourself off the most, and you say is the best?
Jamar Chase. Yeah, he that man for sure. Big body, big frame, can go get it, can route run, got the speed. He can do everything for sure.
You mentioned some of these quarterbacks, right? Faison Brandon.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it there real quick because he talks about A&M's, their wide receiver coach, and then he gets asked the question about who is LSU's best NFL wide receiver. I think that he gave the right answer, but they've got several of them. Now, I don't think that the current wide receiver coach at LSU was their coach, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, they have a long-standing history of putting out very good NFL talent. And then, with A&M's wide receiver coach versus Coach Pope, He doesn't have that track record. So that might be something that maybe A&M has over Tennessee. I think that, as far as the business school, Tennessee has a really good business school too. We're going to network him and, pretty much whatever he wants to do, Tennessee's going to help him do that too. So that's something that's probably pretty standard and equal with all of these programs.
Darion Coleman. Is that factoring into this decision? You look at LSU right now; they don't have a quarterback committed here in your class.
Yeah.
We'll see how that still a long ways to go before the early signing period. You're a guy that's also been at all these events. I remember you were here a year ago, kind of your coming out party. Are you looking at the quarterbacks or?
Yeah, I say I am. We working on trying to get one this year. We took a loss a couple days ago, but we're gonna have to capitalize. But yeah, that's the one thing I look at for sure.
One more before we get you out of here. Your Adidas shoes, Adidas socks, Adidas head to toe. You are officially a member of the Three Stripe Life.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right here because I have to talk about the quarterback situation. You can tell that is something that bothers him. He wants to go to a school like we talked about that has a good quarterback in place. Can LSU get one? I think that that's possible. But what I can also say is that next year, the number one quarterback in the whole country with one of these sites is from Baton Rouge. So we know that he's going to end up going to LSU. So that could be a big deal, but it might not be as big of a deal. One of the other things that I'll say here very, very quickly, he keeps on saying, man, we got to get stuff done now. I want to get to the next level as quickly as I possibly can. So he might not be willing to take that first year without a surefire quarterback and, not be able to put up the types of numbers and things that he wants to do. So I think that they could ultimately end up being a pretty big deal for Tristen Keys.
It's kind of a two-part question. Did you ever see this happening over the last couple of years, becoming an Adidas athlete? And then also, what did that mean to you to become basically the face of Adidas at the high school level?
I most definitely did not see this coming. It kind of fell into my hands, man. I was making some plays on the field, just continue to get better, and I caught eyes. Thank God, caught eyes, and it kind of all worked out by itself. I met a great guy named Matt. So ever since then, it just been what it was, and I say it's truly a blessing. Like I said before, I get to show out for my city. I'm one of the first to do it in my city. So, just putting on for the younger cats to let them know that, it's possible. So that was my biggest thing.
Last thing I got for you, Jeremiah Smith, 2 years ago, man, at this event, kind of stamped himself, and he normally did that. Are we going to see that from Tristen Keys?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We got to, man. Yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to continue to pray about it. We're going to go talk to God tonight about it, and we're going to come out here and perform for sure.
So we're getting it all 3 days.
Yes, sir.
I love that. That doesn't shock me. If this thing was like 2 weeks long, you would bring it every day.
Yeah, every day,
Tristen Keys,
24 hours.
5-star receiver.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it there, right? Obviously, because everything's ending. But yeah, he's definitely confident. He has that dog. We saw that last year in the Polynesian Bowl. And he's gonna be an absolute and total stud. I think everyone knows that. One of the other things too, if y'all were watching what they were saying here, is these guys, like all these analysts for these sites, they like the players that go to these camps. That's one of the ways that you can get pushed higher up on their boards, right? That your rankings go up is just by going to these camps. I'm telling you, this is why I take their rankings and their ratings with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that it's true for guys like Tristen Keys, but it has been true for some of the other players. If you don't go to all this stuff, then they'll dock you for it. If you go to everything, then they'll raise you up maybe higher than you should be. But had to make sure that I did throw that out. That's pretty much it, though, for my thoughts. I would love to see y'all's down in the comment section. As always, please do us a favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.